Question number 7. People vary in which molecules are present on the surface of their red blood cell. For example, in ABO blood group system, people may have categorized into one of four blood groups: A, AB, AB, and O. A single gene I that with three alleles determine this blood group. Gene I is an example of gene with multiple alleles. Alleles IA, IB are codominant. IO is recessive to IA and IB. Explain what is meant by codominant and recessive. So we know codominant when both alleles are expressed in phenotype, and recessive is these alleles will only be expressed when dominant alleles are absent. Part B. Table 7.1 shows a cross between a person with blood group A and a person with blood group B. Complete table 7.1. Parental phenotype: blood group A. Parental genotype: IAIO. Alright, B. Parental genotype: IBIO. Gametes. So the gametes can be both IA and IO and IB and IO. So the offspring genotype could be a cross between IA and IB, a cross between IA and IO, and it can be IB and IO, and it can be IO and IO, resulting in offspring of AB, A, B, or O blood group. C. Hemophilia is a blood condition where bleeding continues for a long period of time after a blood vessel has been damaged. A person with hemophilia has a mutation in a gene on the X chromosome, which results in the lack of blood clotting factor. Explain why a man who has hemophilia cannot pass condition to his male offspring. This is a very good question, and it's a very common question. So males have X and Y chromosome. So what basically happens is that father passes Y chromosome to male offspring, and father does not pass X chromosome to son. So mother passes X chromosome to the male offspring, which is why they cannot pass it to their son. (8a). Humans use selective breeding to improve the features of crop plants and domestic animals. State another term for selective breeding. So selective breeding can also be written as artificial. It's also called artificial selection because human does the selection. Describe how selective breeding can be used to improve the milk yield of dairy cattle. Humans choose female cow with high milk yield and crosses with male cow whose mother or grandmother has high milk yield. Offspring with high milk yield are then chosen, and the process is then repeated for several generations to increase the allele frequency for high milk yield over time. Part B. Explain what is meant by disruptive selection. When both extremes are more fit to survive and reproduce, the intermediate or average are actually considered less fit to survive. This type of selection maintains polymorphism or genetic diversity. Disruptive selection causes bimodal distribution and diversifies selection within same population. So for broad questions, part 9a. Describe how you would carry out an investigation to calculate the effect of substrate concentration on the rate of respiration of yeast in an aerobic condition such as redox indicator. Alright, using a redox indicator such as DCPIP or methylene blue. So basically, first of all, we can have a range of glucose concentration, alright, which is like 0.1 mole per dm cube, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 mole per dm cube. And same volume of yeast suspension and same volume of glucose solution should be used for each experiment. The same volume and concentration of DCPAP should also be used in all experiment. Temperature of 30 degrees Celsius was maintained using a water bath because the temperature is a variable. Temperature is a variable that can affect the rate of respiration. A oil layer can be used to exclude air so that anaerobic respiration takes place. The indicator turns from blue to colorless at the end. When basically the indicator changes color from blue to colorless, we understand that the indicator has been reduced. All right. So the indicator turns from blue to colorless at the end due to hydrogen ions from glycolysis. The time needed for the color to DCPAP to change was then recorded. The experiment was repeated to calculate average time. Finally, a graph with glucose concentration on x-axis and time on the y-axis can be recorded. For answer number 9A, so the answer can be represented in this way. 9B. Compare respiration in anaerobic conditions in mammalian tissue and yeast cells. So basically, anaerobic respiration in mammalian tissue and yeast cell occurs in cytoplasm. Anaerobic respiration involves glycolysis in both mammalian and yeast cell, and it produces about only 2 ATP for both of them. However, both anaerobic respiration regenerates NAD from NADH. Anaerobic respiration in mammalian cell produces lactic acid, whereas the yeast cell produces ethanol. Mammalian cell does not produce carbon dioxide, but yeast cell produces carbon dioxide. Anaerobic respiration in mammalian cell is reversible, whereas in yeast cell, the alcohol production is irreversible. Anaerobic respiration in mammalian cell involves lactate dehydrogenase, and in yeast cell, ethanol dehydrogenase is involved. Question number 10A. Explain how speciation can occur due to geographical separation. So, mountain, sea, river, they may act as a geographical barrier. A population of an organism can get separated into two because of these barriers. As a result, no gene flow can occur between this population. Different environments have different selection pressure, and mutation occurs within a natural population all the time. So individuals with beneficial alleles will always be selected for, and over the course of time, genetic drift will occur. This will change the allele frequency over many generations. The organisms from both sides of the geographical isolation can no longer breed together to produce fertile offspring, and this is an example of allopatric speciation. (10B). The question says, using examples, explain why species may become extinct. So as the environment changes, some species cannot adapt fast enough with climate change, temperature rise, and sea level changes. Endangered species have competition with introduced species. Example, Galapagos Island tortoise. They had competition with all the introduced species like rabbits and then goats. Habitat destruction. Example, Sundarban can make Royal Bengal tigers go extinct. Hunting by humans have caused pangolins to reach near extinction. So this is how a species can become extinct. Guys, thank you for joining the video today, and if you want videos like this, please subscribe the channel. Comment on the video what kind of changes do you want to see in the future. If you want any question papers that you want to be solved by me, let me know in the comments and contact me. Definitely much appreciated about it. And subscribe to our channel, recommend it to your friends. If this video helps you, give it a like, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.